Welcome one and all to the very first OTech Pro webinar. This is going to be a weekly webinar on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So we invite you to come and join us every week. At this time, we would like to begin with introductions of the guests, of the presenters. We have 4 presenters, and we are going to begin with Oliver Fonteh from the United States.
Hi, everybody. My name is Oliver Fonteh, calling from Baltimore, Maryland, United States. And been in IT for 24 plus years precisely. And I've been worked in 3 different IT domain areas, that networking, database, and now for the past 10 years plus, I'm in IT security. So I'm here with my colleagues to at least to brief our people, or to try to make them to understand how ONPASSIVE and the background stuff are going on in IT and security. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Collins Manna from United Kingdom, who will introduce himself.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And just greetings to all the panelists. So I'm Collins Manna, United Kingdom. So I'm an IT engineer, precisely lead QA. So I've worked in different areas. So I have over 14 years of how software is being developed, especially in this industry. And I've touched all areas, both e-commerce, banking application, telecommunication, and health. So there is no sector I haven't touched. And we are here today to just give you as much information as possible within software development lifecycle. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Bob Takusi from the United States next, who will introduce himself.
Hello, Lynn. My name is Bob Takusi. I'm speaking to everyone from Bel-Air, Maryland. I've been living for the past more than 31 years now. I just want to first of all thank our big brother here, Marty DeGarmo, for giving us this privilege, this opportunity. Also thank our founder and CEO, Mr. Ash, for making us be a part of the history that is about to unfold. Appreciate you, Lynn. Thank you for moderating, and of course our colleagues, my colleagues. Collins and I are from the same neighborhood in Cameroon, so I can't wait for us to transform that neighborhood. Of course, Vincent is like a brother. We just met through ONPASSIVE, but good to be here together. And of course, my brother Oliver. I'm also an IT engineer. I've been in the industry for 24 years as well. Started since 1998. I've been in all areas. I'm also an IT security analyst, so I'm now in the securities area. So our purpose here tonight is to, just from the outside, tell our founders worldwide what we know, how we see things going from the outside. We don't have the details of what's going on, but we have an idea. We can analyze from the outside. So I hope this initiative is resourceful and enabling to all our founders worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we have Vincent Ete from the United Kingdom, who will speak and introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Vincent Ete. Thank you, Lynn. Thanks, Marty, for all this opportunity you created for us. Thank you, guys, great leaders. My background is IT engineer, and then I've been working in IT industry for 21 years, and I was technical support administrator, and then a system administrator. Then I work as a database administrator now for the past 10 years. So I'm working on the database. I also work as a business or intelligence engineer. And also I did some project about the deployment of the networking and also the database security side. But actually, I'm mainly working as a database administrator and the DB team lead. So this is my up-to-date where I am now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So as you can see by their introductions, they have not only technical knowledge, but they have field experience. So when they speak, they will be able to tie in the technical stuff with the real world. And that's why we're grateful to have the four of them. At this time, we would like to have Collins Manna do the major presentation today. His topic is software development life cycle. You may take the floor now.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, everyone. So just hope the information we'll dish out here will be fruitful and useful, and we'll make it as simple and as easy as possible. So everyone and guests and the founders will really understand where we are, especially as an IT company. You know, ONPASSIVE is an IT company, and we are just here to give you that information. So why we are doing this is because we want the founders and whoever is watching to understand that though you are not hearing anything, but it doesn't mean what are not being done. Because what we are seeing out there is just the finished product, but the mechanism behind something that we don't see. So it takes a lot of effort and a lot of pains and a lot of, you know, front and back and information sometimes, which we don't see all of those things. But what we see here is just when it is finished. For instance, just stay for a second, look at the app on your phone. We only use the app, but we don't know how it was built and how it is being built and the upgrade and what is running behind. So we want to give you just that you know, the knowledge. So the moment you sit behind and you are in a meeting, some of those questions we used to ask will disappear because you said, okay, I've got an idea now. I know what is happening, at least just that idea of what is happening. So if we don't see our CEO or we don't hear from the leadership council member, we just know that things are okay. Everything is fine because the massive work, 90% of the work we are not seeing. We're just seeing only 10% out there, the finished product. So I will just share my screen. I will take you through software development lifecycle in a very high level for us to see. And we'll talk about test lifecycle and where we are now as in beta testing. All right, share my screen.
Can Marty, could you make Collins a co-host so he can share his screen?
I think I can do. All right. So can you guys see my screen? If just thumb up, or Lynn, if you can say it, that is fine.
Yeah, yes, we do. We
so
see it clear.
Software development life cycle. Why this cycle? You know, it is just a process used by software industry to design, develop, and test high quality software. So without this process, there is no way you can build a very high quality software or any software of this magnitude, or even the little software you can see in the market. The software must go through this process for you to be able to use, because if not, what we'll say will term it as not user-friendly. You can build the best code, you can have the best application, but when it is not usable, there is nothing, nobody will even come and even ask for the price of it. Remember, we have competitors out there who also go through this process. Think about Apple, Amazon, every IT company in this world, Tesla, they go through this process. So I will just look at it and we'll go through it's just 4 slides, so not many. Now, let's look at this. This is the process. Why? What is the aim of going through this? You know, the aim is to produce high quality software that meet or exceed customer expectation. You know, without this, you can never meet the customers because we are the customers and the company want to meet our expectation or even exceed it. You know, now people even want more for less. You know, I want to pay $10, but my expectation, I really need high quality software, you know, and people don't really care. If you cannot give me what I want, I will go for another company that can give me what I want for less. So this is the process. We look at this flow chart, this diagram, start with project kickoff. Think about what Mr. Ash would do, or just sleep and think. He said, okay, this is what I want to build. I want my engineer to do this. We already have the engineer in place. All of those people, they are all in Hyderabad. Building it, it came with the idea. You know, they estimated, they said, okay, let's kick off with this project. What do we need? They moved to, I will not go into deep because within each phase here, we can break it down again to many phases, but this is just high level. From the project kickoff, what they'll do now, they'll gather the requirement. What are the informations? What do we want to do? What are the legality? Documents signed, all of those things. They need to calm down, put all of those in place. That is where they gather all the requirement and the information. When you gather that, you have to analyze it. And from this phase to this phase can take weeks or months. From one phase, from project kickoff to requirement, can take weeks or months. From requirement to analysis can take weeks or months. And if you get it wrong, you have to visit the stage again, the early stage again, that, okay, I've done the analysis wrong. What am I missing? You go back and revisit the requirement. From the analysis, you move into design phase. What are the structure? What are the technical architecture? What are the tests that you want to run? And the quality of everything. You have to design all of those things. Now, from the design phase, you move into the development phase. The development phase, where the developers will started writing the code, whatever program they are using, they have to write it. Bear in mind that design phase, you need to choose the tools. When you talk about tools, maybe you are writing JavaScript, all of those things, or database structure, all of those things. You just have to design that, and then you develop. The moment you develop and it is great, you go into testing. And now we are in testing phase now. Testing is two, because you have the alpha testing and the beta testing. One of the things I will remind everyone is, for each stage phase, there is testing involved. Each stage, there is testing. Each stage, there is testing. So within this phase, you have something they call static and dynamic testing. So static is like reading the document, checking everything, making sure everything is okay. That is static, because you are not running anything. And then you move into, when they develop, that is when dynamic testing, when the system is running and you can test. And then within that test frame now, you can split it up again into functional testing and non-functional testing, all of those type of things, how the software will be. Say you develop a laptop, is it too heavy? That's non-functional. It's not really directly related to the functionality. Somebody will say, you know what, it's too heavy for me, I cannot carry it. So do something. It is too slow for me. That is the non-functional part of it. Functional now is about checking, making sure it is working as it should. That is the functional part. And the functional, you can split up again into different phases of testing, black box and white box, automation, and all of those type of things. It's just so crazy, but I will not go into that. So when we come into this phase, testing, we're talking about beta and alpha. Alpha is gone, beta testing, where we are now in the life cycle of each of our products that you see in the back office. We're doing beta testing. We're testing it now because that we are the user. We need to test it. And the testing phase is what? User acceptance testing. That is beta testing. And from that phase, we move into the live environment, deployment and operation. So when we move into deployment, then we're going live now. So we are at this stage where everything is ready now to hit the market. Just tiny bit, we are in there. So from there, operation is like you build a house. Every time you are in, you said, okay, this kitchen is not working. Let me just maintenance. Let me do certain things. That's how software is. You have to maintain it. You don't stop at that point. You have to maintain it. Maybe the database is going, maybe the number of volume coming, the database cannot, you expand it again. That is maintenance. You add a little bit of things to make it working properly. That's how it is. So this is the phase of this software development life cycle. Now I will show you another phase. When you talk about the cycle, there are different methodology company work. Some will say, okay, I want to work in the waterfall. Though I'm using software development life cycle, which methodology do I want to use? Is it a waterfall? Yes. Waterfall, you have the planning, requirement, design, test, deployment, and operational. Now, some other company will say, no, I want to use V model, verification and validation. It's the same software development life cycle. Go around it, you look at it, developer life cycle. Developer will do all of this work and test life cycle. So the moment you build, you verify. And the moment you test, you are validating. In this phase, you can say, okay, are we building the software right? In verification phase. And in validation phase, are we meeting customer expectation? That is it. Are we building software right? And have we met the customer expectation? That is validation. So if it doesn't match, then your software is failed. So you move through this phase right up to coding, and you move into unit. So by the time you go into low-level design, it's unit testing. That's what they do. They test, they code, they test unit testing. High-level design, component testing. You know, system testing, system integration, system specification, system integration testing. Business requirement, acceptance, which is beta testing we are in. Some companies use the V model. That's great. Now we talk about Agile Scrum, another methodology. This is rapid development. We talk about sprint. Sometimes we hear our CEO use the word sprint, sprint, sprint. This is what you are seeing in the real world. Most companies go into Agile because they want to develop as quick as possible and put it in the market. And because of this methodology, a lot of companies have become very, very successful. And ONPASSIVE is one of that giant coming up with some of this sophisticated way of developing software. So, and with that, we have three methodology, most popular, you know, V, waterfall, V model, and Agile. And then what can we say? Within the last phase, we're talking about ONPASSIVE global IT company. All products are automated and driven by artificial intelligence, all done for you. And we are so in it to win it. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. I should have got popcorn, man. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's amazing, huh? So what we're going to do now is we'll have a comment period. So all of you here can speak. We're going to begin with Bob Takusi.
Yes. So, hello, everybody. Hello again. Good to see everyone. Having listened to Collins, I don't know, maybe we should just pack up and go home, Collins. That was amazing. Beautiful job. So, all right. Good night. See you, everybody. So as we know, ONPASSIVE is a software as a service solution. It's a solution that is going to reside in the cloud. It's a cloud-based solution. That means it's going to be deployed there. But we could also say that it's a web-based software. That means it's running on the internet. You don't need to download anything on your system. You don't need to install and then manage anything. No, it's running. It's a web-based application. And in ONPASSIVE, as we've been explaining to everybody for the past few years, we say these few things. Number one, we have the product. We, all four of us in here, are inside the industry right now. We're using products that are comparable to what ONPASSIVE has. There is no match, so we can say that with 100% guarantee to all our founders. There's no match when it comes to our product. Number two, we have the market. We always say that I'm borrowing my brother's words, Oliver Fonteh. He always says this: we have the product, we have the market. We have the market because we have more than almost 5 billion people who are there waiting for these products, their viable products. And our founder is a master of traffic, customers. He knows how to send customers. So we have the market. And then the third thing, we have the price. Our price is going to be better than anything out there. But we also said, like Colin said, this product, the CEO always says that it is organic. It's being built from scratch. It's organic, right? It's building it from scratch and using artificial intelligence. Most companies are now talking about, most high-tech companies, like the CEO of IBM was saying that, recently I read something, they were saying that AI is the way to go, is the next, they're projecting 2025. Our founder says that, no, we are going to build to this tomorrow's technology today. So we are doing everything today. It's building it from scratch, organic. And then it is integrated. We are integrated, so we are talking together. So that brings me to what I want to include to what my brother has eloquently displayed to us. When our founder told us that ONPASSIVE is integrated, that our products are integrated, that told me that inside our architecture somewhere, there's an integration hub. There's also something that's going on. As we are building the product, we are integrating them. By integration hub or digital integration hub, that means these products are talking together. We're making sure that they're all connected and they're all talking together. And to build this thing, it's also another massive, I'm just trying to make this point to let us know the enormity of what our technicians are doing in Hyderabad. It's very heavy lifting. They are building this thing. It's like a digital integration hub made of other building blocks. We have multiple applications, right? So, and they all have what we call APIs, application programming. I don't want to go technical here, but they're all talking to each other. So they're connecting each other, you know. They have there's a base layer with like the database, the system of records, they have everything. Then there's a middle layer, which is the, like we call it the integration middleware. That's where the programming is done. So they write all the coding, right? It is like, it's a complex mathematical calculation of stored procedures and functions that is being written, and these calls are made. So when the data comes in there, it is being programmed, and then we receive it. The users receive it as they want it. That is a huge initiative, a huge service. And then they have an API gateway. So this is something within the system that is being worked on. But I'm saying this to drive at a point. When our founder, Mr. Ashford Farah, said that we have an integration team, I knew that something like this must be going on in the background. But my experience also told me that this is going to be tough, because I was in a project about 10, 12 years ago. I cannot remember, maybe 10 or 12 years ago, where we did build an integration hub, not with AI, but we had a system that was, but we used the waterfall method, which Collins just showed us, you know. So it took us about a year. I was acting as a business analyst role in this project. It took us about a year to get it right. But our founder gave us a clue, also what Mr. Collins has just mentioned. When he talked about the sprints, I knew exactly, we knew our methodology, the system development methodology we knew that we're using the Agile Scrum methodology when he talked about the sprint. In this case, what we are doing and why we are where we are is because of the methodology that they are using. They are using this Agile Sprint methodology. That means cross-functional teams. All the teams are collaborating together. They are writing their stories. They are designing, they are developing, they are testing, and they are producing functionality that's close to production on each sprint. They come together, they review, they test, they check, they go back in for the next sprint. That is why we find ourselves in this situation. And that is why things make sense now to me, because in this sprint and with these teams, we also have this integration to help the integration team also working collaboratively, because it's a very difficult it's a very difficult project as a standalone. So I just give kudos and I applaud our team, our CEO, just for the thoughts, the brains behind this. I know we have the best team, our team, the guys working for us in Hyderabad, they are the best in the world actually right now. So I just wanted to throw that in and applaud my brother Collins. Well put out to all of us. Thank you.
Okay. Who else would like to comment? This is our comment period.
Okay, let me take it from there. Wonderful presentation and wonderful analysis from Mr. Bob for the integration part. And then after building all this, going through all this process, there must be security. They must apply security in all the phases. Like my brother Connie just showed us, people have seen from the diagram, the requirement phase, that they'll sit to talk after putting out all the requirements, they have to come out to put where the security part has to be. In each phase of the development life cycle, there must be security, and they must test. And that phase must pass the testing phase before it go to the next phase. Now come the planning phase. That planning phase also, they have to discuss about the security. How, where, and when they have to put in the security. They have to be in that meeting to discuss about the security. And that is what has been going on in our guys in Hyderabad. We can visualize it that this is what is going on behind the scene. We don't have the architecture, but the security from the requirement phase that they're discussing, they will discuss about security, where it is. Come now to the planning phase. They have to also discuss how they are going to put in the security. Now come the architecture and the designing phase. That is when now things start to happen. That's where they'll start doing things to make sure that things start happening. The security, the testing, the assessment, and the security part of it, the coding, the static and the dynamic security that they have to put in place or also. Now come the implementation phase. When they come now into the implementation phase, that is when they start implementing everything with the security, because they have to test it from the development phase, test it before it has to pass, and all the checkbox has to be checked before they take it now to the next phase, which is the implementation phase. And that implementation phase has to pass it before we move. And when you move now from that design and architecture phase that to the development phase, it comes now to the implementation. Now they're implementing. It cannot get to implementation without passing through all those, the security check. That security, the code, everything has been checked, the dynamic and the static code, and they must assess it to review and access to make sure that security is tight. It has been encrypted in all the levels. That is why I'm so proud with our CEO, Mr. Ash Mufara, that he is so particular about that. And when you look at the agile that my brother Connie just showed, that we use the sprint, it's 2 weeks. I don't know if they do use 3 weeks or 2 weeks in Hyderabad, but I know the common one that I've been working all through with, and that I've been part of all the teams, is 2 weeks. So when the CEO comes and says, okay, this week we'll check this, and I'll review it. If he sees that there's something is wrong, the security is not good, it's not tight, the color or whatever is not good, he will send it back. And when he sends it back, it will take another 2 weeks, because he must go through that 2 week sprint phase. That is why when he checks something in the first week of sprint and it's not good, know that it will take 4 weeks. I want us to get this part. So we should not sit and say, why is he taking that long? He says he's going to review this thing. He will come and talk to us. No. If he reviews it, that is the first week of that sprint. Just know that it's going to take another 4 weeks. We should understand this part. So we should stop complaining here and there. So now when it comes now to the final testing, that is the pre-deployment, they have to test it in a non-production environment that is a replicate of the production environment. And with all the security phases that has been checked and checked and checked and checked and checked. That is where a total assessment, the penetration testing has to take place. The vulnerability scanning has to take place. If there's anything about patching, all those things now have to take place in that non-production environment that is a replicate of the production environment. If it doesn't pass that phase, and that is the phase where we are now, the last phase of the testing before they deploy it to the world. That is where we are now, the non-production phase testing. That pen test, we have to make sure that everything, the security and everything, the coding, we have to check it. We now are also testing it. It was a very good thing that our CEO did. I've not seen that in any other company. That the tech we check, we the founders, we check, then now he come out with the third eye. I've not seen that before. I've never seen that in my life as I've been working. That a third eye that our customers, they also check. And when they check, they give their own check mark. Look at what we did. What we did, the second eye we did our checking, and there were some wrinkles. I applaud my brother, my big brother here, Mr. Marty DeGarmo, that they worked with Julie. They did a good job carrying all those wrinkles. And guess what? Before they even said to Hyderabad or gave it to Mr. Ash that they should send it to Hyderabad, they knew that we have these problems. That is how smart those guys in Hyderabad are working. And they did all that. Then now we are waiting, because we are doing the final checking, ticking the dot and the I's. Let me say an example here, like Toyota, Mercedes, all this automobile industry. They always recall cars back. That because they do have faults on this, have faults on this, and they have faults on this, because they didn't go through all this final testing properly. And these are the things that our CEO, that's why I keep saying, I will applaud him for that he want to make sure he went through all these 3 eyes for the total, for the 3 eyes to check. And I'll give him a plot for that, and our team in Hyderabad, and I will rest my case, and I'll say, thank you guys. Bye.
Hi, Vincent.
Hi, Lynn. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very, very much, Lynn. So thanks, Marty, for this also this opportunity for us to be here tonight. So thanks also Collins, he did a great presentation. We have our brother also did a good presentation, followed by Collins, and then also Oliver. So it was all great. So they talk about software life cycle. What I want to also highlight in this life, the software development life cycle is that we also have integration of the database, because all these systems we are seeing here, like we said, the back office, we have a database in the back office where all the systems are integrated into, and then all the systems also get the information from the database. So part of this testing, we also test the database, because we check also the performance of the database, the security of the database, because if the database, we have a poor performance, people will complain that the system is very slow. When we request something, we don't get the information we need. So all this need to be involved in the life cycle. And then second part of the database is the security, like my brother Oliver mentioned. The security also aspect is a very important part of the testing, because the database need to be secure, because if there anything happen to the database, people get to our system and then we are gone. So the part of the database, we need to think about the firewall system, the Windows system. We're thinking about inbuilt system of the database, because I'm a SQL specialist. So in SQL, we need to talk about like TDE, the TDE also implement the data in the REST. When the data in the REST, the TDE implement that. We have also to implement data in transit. So all this, we have to do the testing. When everything is fine, we are okay, and then we can launch the application. So it's not something is easy, people see as easy, but in the back office, we have also the implementation of the database. So we check out, first of all, the maintenance of the database, the implementation of the database, the modeling of the database, the security of the database, and then all this after, when everything is done, and then we can say, okay, we have done the check, everything's working fine. Boom, the system life cycle development is done. We can move on. So this is all aspects of the database. I would like to highlight that also the database play also a key role in our, let's say, ONPASSIVE product, because without the database, we are nowhere. So the database is the underlying product sitting somewhere where we get the information from, and then we can get information too. So anything we get in from our company is from our database, we go outside. So anything we get from outside, go to our company, and then go to the underlying database with hosting all the website we see or we're sitting there. They are all the website, they have a database sitting down there. So anything happen to the database, then we happen also to the website. So the website is like the database is like eggs in your house. So anything happen to the egg is finished, and then it's fragile. So we need a tight security to maintain the database in every corporate. Every corporate who want to be a big and very important, they need the security of the database as well. So I'll stop there, Lynn. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you. Did anyone want to speak before we go to Marty? Anything that you folks wanted to say before Marty starts? Okay, if not, we're going to go to Marty now. Now that you've heard from the techies. Now that you've heard from the techies here, we're going to go to a marketer, and that is Marty DeGarmo. He has decades of experience in this field, and he's going to be able to tie in technology and marketing. So you can take the floor now, Marty.
Oh, not sure I want to follow these guys, man. I didn't know that. Very exciting stuff. I am not an IT guy, so I'm going to get that straight right now. Some people like to pretend they're something they're not. Not me. I have enough trouble being me. But what I do want to say, after listening to this and watching, that, you know, the first person or customer, I would say, that the tech team needs to impress is a man named Ash Mufara. And because he's a stickler and wants the best of the best of the best, there's a lot of times that we don't see something going back to the drawing board. Trust me. And it has to be number one. Now, they aim to be the best, but as thank God for all of us, the IT guys would understand this. If it takes a week here, a month here, or 2 months here, whatever, in the long run, we'll be glad that we took the time to be the best of the best, because you don't get a second chance at a launch of a company like this. You just don't, it doesn't happen. Another thing I see about IT and technology, if you come into ONPASSIVE, you say, and you look at the product and you say, I don't know why this took so long, it looks so easy. That is technology. When you can come into something that looks easy, that's the highest technology in the world, because they took something complicated and through technology made it so that my grandmother can operate it. That is technology at its best. Don't forget that for anybody that's watching this. Never underestimate, oh, that's so simple, why did it take so long? It's simple because it took long. They did it right. Trust me, you got to look at stuff differently. And what I like about this meeting is it finally fills in the void, because people have a tendency to think, I don't see anything happening, so there must not be anything happening. When in reality, everything's happening right now. Everything's happening. And I mean on high alert. Trust me, that company in India is rocking and rolling constantly. I mean, Ash gets about 3 hours sleep a night, and he is there all the time on the phone. Do this, do that. And then they deliver to him. No, not that. I want to do this. No, not that. And then when we see it, it's one phase closer. It's not perfect. Then when we find things wrong, that's what we're here for. We tell them and boom. And a lot of us put on the wrong hat. A lot of us look at it and say, I'm a customer. No, you're not. You're a founder. You're not a customer yet. Customer is going to be perfect. That's why we're here. But anyway, as a marketer, I've been marketing for 18 years. Before I marketed, I worked in a company that I was a project engineer, project manager. I don't want to use the word engineer. I was a specialist at what I did, but it was from learning it. I didn't go to school for it. It was actually electroplating that I got to know very well. I traveled around the world. I worked with many different types of people. I worked with the chemical guys. I worked with the engineer guys. I worked with the tech guys. And when you do that, it gives you a little bigger picture. You may not know everything they're saying, because a lot of that's education. You don't understand all the words. But it's very neat if you just take the time. Now today, they really made it simple, but you get to see all the little parts and pieces that you don't know are going on. You know, you look at a watch and you say, oh, that's simple. Open it up. You tell me how simple it is. They made it look simple. That's the technology part. That's more of the technology than you think it is. But when I marketed online, I started 18 years ago. It was a freaking nightmare. I didn't know what I was doing. You had to get visitors to your site, and all that's just a nightmare. I don't want to get into all that. I say that on every presentation. You can watch it. But where this plays a part is Ash has decided through technology, through tech people, through AI, I'm going to build a business that I'm going to hand to the everyday mom and dad anywhere. And if you get in, you win. That doesn't happen by being dumb. That happens by being the best. Your mother, your grandfather could get in this business and drag and drop. I asked Ash the other night on a webinar. Of course, I look like an idiot after I asked him, but I said, Ash, to put in the tracking, do I have to move a code over to the page? Now, I know what that is because I've done it. And he goes, no, because not everybody would know how to do it. You push a button and it happens. So you got a code when you send that page out and you're advertising, and a guy in Alaska clicked on it, it will notify you where that click came from. What did you do? You didn't do anything. The tech guys are doing that for you right now. So making that simple for you right now. And it's all those little things that you think, well, I don't see it. It must not be here. I don't see oxygen, but I know it's here. Try going without it. So it's a big deal. The IT part of it, that's why I always thought they were bringing these guys on separately. And I was thinking, man, this is the time now to let people know, because it'll make people sit easier when they go, why is it taking so long? You know what I'm thinking? Knowing the little I know, why is it happening so fast? How is it happening this fast? I'm not kidding. You look at all the stuff, Zoom, 4 years. Would they start with 16 people on the screen and everybody was happy as a lark? They'll sell you a package for 20,000 people, but it doesn't run. It kicks out. People get kicked out. Technology's old. Technology's old tomorrow. It doesn't take long. But when you have a CEO that says, I'm going to have people here that are always looking down the road, they're never satisfied with today. That's a beautiful thing. And we're all going to reap the reward for that, so that when you market, guess what? You're an expert. Why? Because you handed the hard work over to the company. I used to sit for hours and try to figure out what country, what time, male or female, what age group, how much money they made. Then I had to figure out who they liked and didn't like, what did they follow? And then I do that for 2 months. And if I'm lucky, I set up an ad that might work. When you have AI and you have a company like this, which nobody's ever seen before, it's going to make a judgment call in a millisecond. That works, that don't, that works, that doesn't, that works, that doesn't. And when it's sending these out and somebody's picking up these pages with our link in it, you don't have to worry about it. All that's done for you. And it says, yeah, I like it. Boom, I like it, I like it, I like it, I don't like it, I don't like it. AI is reading that. It's machine learning. So it knows, do not send this ad with this page to Alaska anytime after 7 p.m. tonight. When it sends out a follow-up email or a drip campaign where you're reminding the person of what they saw, it's not going to send them an email at 2 in the morning knowing that they don't get up until 8 and get piled up by other emails. It'll be there at 6 o'clock when they pour their coffee. That's artificial intelligence. That's where technology makes you shine. You don't have to be a shiner. You're going to shine. Just get in and you win. That's all I could really add to that. I'm blown away. I want people to see what I see, and what I see keeps me up at night. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, if you listen to what I said, you know, just going into the IPv6. So what did I do? I went out and looked at it. Well, IPv4 became obsolete 2015. The numbers, all the numbers that are calculated to make an IP address have wore out. There's no more left. So they obviously went to the 340 trillion. And then ASK is saying, if there's an IP address and there's an email, it's mine. Let me tell you something. That's pretty powerful stuff. I'm telling you right now. If there's an email and an IP address, it's mine. That's big stuff. Anyway, that's all I got. I hope I tied things in.
That's great. Right now, we want to open it up to all the panelists here to have open discussion. Any questions or comments? It's a free for all.
That's dangerous.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, just kidding.
Yeah. So yes, Brown, so I'll just say just great presentation, you know, all the panelists here, Marty DeGarmo, that was fantastic. So one of the things, just want to add more into, you know, the software development life cycle. When we look at our back office, for those who are founders, we see we're going into OMail, OTracker, all of those products. They are all integrated into OFounder. What I want to mention here is every product you find in your back office went through the software development life cycle before it end up there. Every product you're seeing, before you even see it out there, the product must not like we are guessing, must go through software development lifecycle. Without that, you will never see it there. There is no way you can escape it. And you cannot skip one process because you want to please people. Never. You know, in IT, we used to use, excuse me to use my language, we said shit in, shit out. So you put something bad, that's the end result will be bad. And if you put something good in, the end result will be good. And that is why the process is well calculated. Well calculated. There is no room for mistake. And secondly, in each of the development, for instance, in a software company, you must have the best of the best in every department. You want database developer, they must be the best. With level of experience, API developer, the best. C# coder, whatever program you want to write, security analyst, they must be the best. You must have all of those people. Without those people, you cannot develop a software. And it costs a lot of money. It is not a joke to pay one engineer. It is not a joke. You know, having that level of experience, because what they are doing is massive and crazy. So that's just what I wanted to add there. It is not easy. The integration and all of those things is mind-blowing.
Yeah. Thank you, Collins. Also, there's an image of a rocket that we have. One of our images that we have, you see the rocket that is getting ready to launch. That's what we should have in our minds. You know, what Mr. Mufara and our team, what they're doing is that they're building a rocket and they're preparing to launch this rocket. There cannot be any error, any mistake. So if you just think about it that way. So it's going through the process, the system development life cycle, as Collins is saying, yes, but we are also very, very cautious with making sure the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted properly. You know, when a rocket launches and there's an error, just imagine. When a rocket launches and there's an error, what happens? Everything crashes, right? Nobody survives. ONPASSIVE is like that. We have to have everything on the T as we hit, because when Mr. Ash Mufare, God bless him, when he's going to turn on the switch, he says, okay, guys, we're ready, let's roll. That is it. You know, companies are going to roll to ONPASSIVE with their entire HR staff, human resource, everything. You know what I'm saying? So those, as soon as we launch, they come along, that's it. We cannot have a false start. So let's just become, everything is being done properly. We have the best people working for us. That's just my own one, you know, 1 or 2 cents. So we take a deep breath. We are right now on the runway, I think. Mr. Ash told us that this month of March is going to be hot. You know, they are doing the right things, making sure everything is in place. When you go to the back office and you see it is slow, or maybe you try to click on something and it's taking time, sometimes the OTP code does not, it is a good thing. Something is going on, they are working on stuff. This system, the system does not go down, so they make changes while the system is up. And they implement it. We have, I'm sure Vincent can tell us, the database are properly replicated somehow, right? They are going, they are on, they are up, they don't go down, but they're making changes. We have never seen any time where they say, let's shut down the system to do a change and then you come back. No. So sometimes when it is slow, when something does not happen the way you want, when you're trying to click to the back office or it is slow, it is a good thing. That means that some work is going on behind the scenes. And if you give yourself maybe another hour or so, you come back, it works. So these guys are working round the clock, 24/7. That's why we are here, actually. That's why we are, in fact, that's why we are in this position right now where we are thinking of something major happening. Because of the hard work, the guys are working around the clock. That's my 2 cents.
Let me add one more cent before one of these other guys jump in and blow me away. Just putting technology into it. As said the other night, if I don't get 20-25% return on investment, it's like a failure to him. Let me put that in perspective. I was dancing in the street at 5%.
Yep.
And I only coasted through that pig. I usually wound up at 3% or 1%. 20 to 25%, that means every million people that the page goes to or they click on, 250,000 of them are signing up. That's outrageous. That is mind-blowing. Let me tell you how that happens. And this is technology, it's not me. My God, if I knew how to do it, I would have done it. Somebody goes to a webinar, right? A webinar, O-Connect. They're watching the webinar. Here's where people get lost. At the end of the webinar, you hear everybody say this: get back to the person that invited you. That webinar goes off, the person shuts down, something happens, right? Life happens. The dog barks, you dropped your coffee, whatever. Okay, you can't remember who told you about it. You go to the first person you think it was, you sign up under the wrong person, or you can't find it. In ONPASSIVE, the technology will be so many seconds before the end, a banner will pop up on the screen, and you can touch it if you got a touch screen, or you can use your mouse. If you're interested in going farther or learning more, click here. You don't lose anything. Instantly bring that person where they need to go. It's constantly guiding the customer to the prize. And the prize is what they want, whether they know it or not. And if you do that and they buy, think of the hundreds of thousands of customers in regular business that are lost. I'm not saying they didn't buy the product, because more likely they did. They just didn't buy it from you. And with this technology where you got machine learning and as it's going and how people are paying attention or not paying attention and how people respond, what question do they ask? Oh my God. And we're IT, when you're getting in that, machine learning, it gets smarter every time we use it. So as months go on, we have many Einsteins out there going, and there's no sweating. In marketing manually, you're sweating. You know why? Every maneuver you make costs you money. Every one of them. And sometimes you make a mistake because you're adjusting to emotion and not through statistics. Computers and technology doesn't sweat. It takes the facts. 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 4 has got to be 8. And sometimes I get nervous and say it's 7. Well, sorry, Marty, you're wrong. It's always 8. With a computer, it doesn't, it's logic. It tells you if this happened this many times, the chance of it happening again is blank, 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 blank. Let's go there. I hope that makes sense, but I'm just trying to make it for people like me. Okay. But anyway, that's all I got.
Yeah. Thanks very much, big bro, Marty and Collins and Bob. Yeah. I just want to make our founders to understand that where we are now, for me, I always have 2 caps on. The founders cap on and the IT caps on. I don't always want to take myself when I'm in a kind of a situation that people keep questioning about why are we not launching? Why can't we launch? I put on my IT cap on. I move the founder cap and I put the IT cap on, and I think as an IT person now in the field, as a lead, as a director, I put that cap on and I say, okay, where we are now, we are about 2 years. We are about 2 years, because if you ask me as an IT person, I would say we will launch from 2019, 5 years after. But I've seen what the tech guys, when you look at the system development life cycle, what Colin just showed and what we've talked about here, if you follow all that process in all the products, if you look at our back office now, we do have 8 products, including O-Founder. And each of those products went through that process. You have the integration, you have the automation, and IT and AI, artificial intelligence, also part of it. And between 2019, that I know, end of 2019, and we are now in 2022, March, we have 8 products that are, I will not say 100% completed, but 90% completed. When you look at that system development life cycle, with all what has been going on behind the scene, we are we are doing good. We are fine. And we are ahead. So please be patient. Now that we are at the final testing phase, beta testing to deploy, be patient. Good enough, the CEO came out and told us that he is confident that in 60 days, as of the 21st of February, that in 60 days, we will go into the initial global marketing campaign. Please do not ask that question again. Clap for yourself. Those who've been here since 2018, 2019, 2020, even those who are joining now, clap for yourself to be part of this process. Clap for yourself to be part of this process, because when you look at the system development life cycle, our CEO and the Hyderabad teams, they've done a marvelous job. I keep praying for them, and I pray for the CEO that God should give him the wisdom to handle this, and he is doing a good job, and the tech guys are doing a good job, because as an IT person, to manage that kind of a project with spring, I bet you some of us would have crashed. And when he comes out, he will not tell us the difficult part that he's going through. We can imagine what he is going through behind the scene, but he will not come and tell us. He will come in front of us and laugh and smile. But we can imagine, 4 of us here can imagine what he's going through. I can remember one day he came and said he has told the tech guys that he gave them that Friday that they should not go to bed. They should not go to sleep. They should, I think that was all staff. That was all staff. So you can imagine the pressure that he's in, and the pressure also that the guys in Hyderabad are going through. So please, we should give them hand of applause. And that we are here now. We are here now, about to deploy to the public to get into the initial and the global launch. I think we should give them at least a tap on the back. Thank you very much. See you guys on Saturday. God bless you.
Anybody else want to say something before we wrap up? All right, so we're going to wrap up now. Bob, did you want to say something? Go for it.
No. I just wanted to, just appreciate everyone, especially all the Leadership Council members who've been driving us. They've been leading us throughout the past few years, and especially the founders that joined Mr. Ash Mufare when this was a vision. He started this by himself alone, and then the initial founding members from 2018, those who actually came in when there was no website, there was nothing. I think, was it Tony Monk or one of the old founders told us that there was just a recording of Mr. Ash explaining the product, and they came on board. So I want to thank those folks, because it's thanks to them that we're here. They took lit the candle, Mr. Kash's candle, they took the light and they kept the flame burning for us to join. So it's a great honor and a privilege for us to be part of this history-making event.
Thank you. Marty, did you want to say something before we end?
No, I had a good time, and I think this will be useful to people, really. I think they need to know what's going on behind the scenes. Obviously, you got to make it so they understand it, but I thought it was very good. I really made me think about stuff, so that's a good thing. That was very good. Thanks, guys. You did a great job.
Yeah, I think they did a great job as well. So this is our first webinar, and it's not our last. It's going to be weekly, every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So the next topic we have is security. So I think everyone's interested in security because it's in our best interest, right, for the company to have its data secure. So I think it's a topic of general interest. So please join us. These are all live streamed, so you should have easy access to them. If you cannot watch these webinars live, you certainly can go to YouTube, to any of the major channels like Bill Must, Marty DeGarmo, ONPASSIVE Nation, Julian Milo. Am I missing anything? I think I covered them all. So you should be able to access the live streams very, very easily. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. Thank you for the attendees. We had a nice active chat box going. A chat box. They were communicating with one another, so that's awesome. Thanks again, everybody, and see you next week, Saturday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Lynn.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Oliver. Bye, Bob. Bye,
everybody.
Marty.